Hi, so welcome to this first video for SOEN6441. So that's Advanced Programming Practices, um, or APP as people know it as. So this video is only going to be about introduction to the course. So it's going to tell you how we're going to approach this course, what is this course all about, how it's organized, especially how we are going to deal with online teaching. As you all know, we're all not doing online teaching as I'm doing right now. So as you may suspect, there's going to be recordings of each of the lectures as I'm doing right now. And there's also going to be live lectures for questions and answers and so on. So I'm going to basically explain how it's going to go in this video here. So let's first go to the web page. So the web page is essentially the Moodle page. So you have to go on your My Concordia portal, and then you go to your Moodle pages, and then you're going to find the Moodle page for this course. That's for it says SOEN6441. So I already created the page, the Moodle page for each of the weeks. You will see that there are, for example, events, lectures, and labs. The links are going to be provided here. As you see, you have many of the links that are already there. So there's going to be, for example, if there's a handout, you're going to have the handout here. So if you click here, you're going to have the handout of the project description. Later on today, I'm going to create the video. Every time there's going to be a handout, there's going to be a video for the handout explaining what it is. For every of the lectures, such as the one you're listening now to, there's going to be the slides and then the video. So after I'm finished this video, I'm going to post the video on this link here. And then there's a Zoom link here, because when we're going to do during the official lecture time, there's going to be a live lecture, even though it's not, I'm not going to repeat, of course, everything I said on the video, but as I'm going to explain soon, I'm going to go over very quickly about the material I covered in the weekly video, and then I'm going to answer questions that you may have. So that's how it's going to be for the live lectures, which are going to happen on Zoom. And you can basically click here to actually access the Zoom meeting. All the Zoom meetings are going to have a password, protected by a password. If you want to see the passwords, essentially you go to announcements and you go here. You move this here, which you don't see, but I do. Zoom links and access codes. So if you go here, you're going to see Zoom links here and the passcodes for each of the different components, different Zoom sessions we have. For example, for the live lectures, this is the passcode, this is the link. For my office hours, this is the passcode, this is the link. There's going to be also when they're going to be created. There's going to be some Zoom links and passcodes for each of the labs. Okay. And then eventually talking about the labs, there's going to be for each of the labs, it's going to be the same thing. There's some slides, a video, and then the live Zoom links are going to be listed here. Okay. So I invite you to look maybe in advance as to what is it that we're going to cover over the semester, especially for the labs. The labs are essentially there to help you absorb material that is going to be used in the project, in the operation of the project. We are basically in this course showing you some essentially tools that are accessory to hold or control or manage a programming project. Okay. It's not a course only about programming. It revolves around the notion of programming, but it's not about teaching you how to do programming. Even though there are some lectures that will teach you some, programming examples of what we cover, this course is not about teaching you how to program. It's assuming you already know how to program. So if you don't have much programming background, it might be a little bit difficult. And it's that the key to overcome this difficulty is to be active in your team in doing the project. If you shy away from doing the project and get very involved in the project and you already are a little bit behind in your programming skills, you're going to have some difficulty, especially in the exams. Okay. So very important, if you feel that you don't have much programming experience, the solution is to get involved in the project, and your teammates will, uh, you will benefit from the experience of your other teammates as you work on the project. Now, there's also some bunch of links here. So the project is going to be in teams. So here you have team self-selection. So here the instructions as to how to form teams. You have to form teams by January 22nd. Okay. So if you click here, you will see that people have already, because I've posted that already. So some people have already started creating teams. You even have some teams that are complete. So the teams have to be exactly 5 members. Okay, don't come with a team of 3 or a team of 4. Team of 4, I'm not going to accept teams unless they are 5 members. I will not accept teams of 6. It has to be exactly 5 members. If there are to be teams that are not 5 members, I will decide that they are. Okay, I will create teams which are not of 5 members at the end on January 22nd. If some people still don't have teams, then I'm gonna basically put people together to form teams of 5. Okay, there might be a few teams of 6 or a few teams of 4, but I will create them if there are to be such teams. Okay. So if you don't find a team by yourself, I will assign you a team. However, I strongly suggest that you actually try to find a team by yourself, as it's much better if you can actually discuss with people and see that you fit with these people that you are going to be in a team with. Very often teams run into trouble because people don't know each other. Sometimes you get in with people in a team and you don't relate to one another. So it's better to at least discuss with some people in order to figure out how they want to operate and what's their schedule, what is the tools that they like, what's their experience, so that you can somehow have make sure that you have something in common with these people that you are going to work for a whole semester with. That's it for the teams. I'm going to come back to that when I pull on the slides. For communication, I'm going to use essentially email. So I'm going to use the Concordia portal to send you email communications for official communications. Okay, so make sure that in your portal, if you have, or the address, the email address that you have in the portal, please make sure that is valid. I already know that I've sent some emails to the whole class. Some of them bounce because the email addresses didn't exist. So please make sure that your address that you have on the portal is valid, or else you will not receive the official communications by me. Okay. So that's how, if I have official announcements to make, I will send email using the portal. So make sure that your address there is valid and make sure that you read the mailbox associated with this address. There's also, well, of course, in the Moodle page, there's the Moodle messages or messaging. You can send me messages here, but I will not send an official important communication using Moodle message. Okay, so it could be like casual questions and answers using Moodle messages. I don't mind that. I will answer them. But if there's something very important that I want to tell you, I will use email. Same is with you. If you have something very important to tell me in private, please send an email. There is also a Discord channel for those of you who might know Discord. This is something that people use, for example, for gaming or for um, social meetings. There is the Discord server that has been created by the students from the faculty. There's literally thousands of students from the faculty that are on this Discord channel or server. There is a channel on this server for this particular course. So I've already sent you an email about that. A lot of students have already registered to this channel. So I strongly advise that you at least register to the channel and go there if you have some questions, to ask other people or ask me, because I'm going to be there also. I'm going to try to be aware of what are the questions and answer the questions there. Even though this is not an official communication mechanism for this course, I'm actually going to be there to answer many questions. So I'm gonna, as I'm recording, for example, this video, as you probably already know, if you're looking at this video, my videos are gonna be on my YouTube channel. So there's gonna be a playlist, especially for this course. Okay. So all my own videos are gonna be posted on the YouTube channel, and there's gonna be links here on the web page, on the Moodle page. Anytime you see video here in the lectures, these are going to be a link to the videos on the YouTube channel. For the labs, there's going to be videos too, but the videos are going to be posted on a UJA channel for the course. Reason being that I don't know if the students that are the TAs for the labs, I don't know if they want their videos or if they agree for their videos to be public, which YouTube is public, as you know. So the videos, if you click on the videos for labs, it's going to lead you to a UJA channel for the course, which is going to be private. Only the people that have access to this Moodle page are going to be able to see the videos for the labs. All the videos are going to be created as we go, and you're going to have access to the videos a few days at least before every lecture or every lab. Okay. There's going to be only, so there's going to be, there is already 3 TAs associated with each, 1 TA for each of the lab sessions. However, there's going to be 1 video created by 1 of the TAs for each of the lab sessions, the weekly lab sessions. Okay. Okay, that's about it for that. So if you go and click here on the slides for week 1, it's going to bring you to these slides here. So let's start this slideshow. So, introduction to the course. Okay. So this is me. My name is Joey Paquette. I'm an associate professor. I've been associate professor here for more than 20 years now. My teaching topics are all revolving around the notion of programming languages, either the use of programming languages in programming courses, such as this one, even though this course, as I mentioned before, it's not about teaching you how to program. It is about teaching you how to use a programming language in a software engineering project. I also do research in compiler design. I teach the compiler design course too. And in general, I also teach software engineering courses, especially when it's related to the programming aspect of software engineering. For my research topics, I'm doing design implementation of programming languages, compiler design, the implementation of parallel and or distributed computing, demand-driven computing, context-driven computation, service computing, things like this. So this is my web page here. There, if you follow this link here, it's going to lead you to, let's do it. It's going to lead you to my web page. This is my web page here. And if you go to teaching, then it's going to lead you to all the courses I've ever taught. Some of them have pages inside of this wiki website here of mine. If you click here, that leads you to the web page in my own website for this course. So essentially, I'm going to maintain this in parallel with the Moodle. In fact, all the links that you click onto the Moodle are links to my web page. So I'm going to maintain both the Moodle page and my web page here. So if you prefer to access things from here, go ahead. It's going to be the same material. Okay. That's it for my web page. So if you want to reach me by email, that's one of my email addresses. You may also know there is joey.packet@concordia.ca. This all goes to the same mailbox. Okay, so whatever address that you may see floating around that is labeled as my email address, you can use them and it's going to all reach me anyway. Okay, so don't worry about which address that you are using to reach me. It's all going to the same place anyway. This is my office number, even though I've not been here in many, many months now. If you want to see me in person, in private, you can come to my online office hours. These are on Wednesdays from 10 to noon. Okay. So on the Moodle, there's actually a link that allows you to, that you can click to actually, at this time of the week, that you can click there to actually come to my office hours, which are held on Zoom. Okay. So that's essentially, if you can come there if you have some questions about the project or your team or anything, you can actually come to the office hours as a team, but I'm having office hours so as to it's possible so that it's possible for students to meet me individually and private. Okay, that's the main objective of the office hours. For example, you might want to meet me during the lecture time, but there's no assurance that you can meet me in private. If you want to meet me in private, come to the office hours. So first thing we may do is to have a look at the calendar description. Not going to read it, but the point is that this is somehow a listing of the topics that were proposed when this course was created. There is some of the elements of this list here that we're not going to cover. Essentially, what I'm covering here, as I briefly mentioned before, is all aspects of how to do programming in a software engineering team. Okay. There are a lot of tools around the notion of programming. Of course, you're using an IDE, you're using a compiler to do programming. But if you're working as a team in a company, very likely, for example, you're using some kind of Git repository or a GitHub repository or whatever it is that you're using. You're probably using a repository. You might be doing unit testing or continuous integration. It's all kind of tools that we are going to integrate in the project. So it's going to give you some kind of real life feel of what it is to actually work in a real life software development project. So yes, it's going to be about programming, but it's also going to be as to how it's really happening in real life using the tools that are used in real life. So what is the rationale for this course? First of all, it's important to note that this is not a introduction to programming course. Okay, this is not even, I might say, it's not a course for teaching you how to program. It's a course for showing you how programming is done in a real life software engineering project. Yes, it's about programming, but I'm not going to be here to teach you how to do programming. There's going to be examples throughout the semester that may help you understand more about programming if you don't already. But the objective of the course is not to teach you to become a programmer. It's assuming that you are already a programmer. Um, So as I mentioned before, in the industry, if you go working for a company and working in a large team, there are some tools that are being used in practice to actually either manage the code or to manage the quality of the code, and so on and so forth. So that's this kind of tools that we're going to integrate in this course. I'm going to teach you what are these tools, how to use them in the lab, and so on. And physically, it's going to be put in practice in the project I'm going to present later. Um, and these tools that are used in practice, they are basically there to improve the effectiveness of programming or the efficiency of the programming that people do in a team. Okay. For example, when you use a repository, it aims at improving the effectiveness and the efficiency of how fast you are producing code, or how you can deal with code that is changing. Code is changing all the time as you do some programming. So how do you manage the changes that are applied to your code? For example, the use of a repository is an absolutely essential tool in order to manage code changes, especially in a team. So all kinds of tools like this that help you become a more effective and efficient programmer. That's the essence of this course. Okay. So the project is to be undertaken, as I can mention before, in a small team. You might say, well, in a course, a team of 5 is rather a large team. Of course, in real life, teams are likely to be larger than that. So in terms of how it would be in real life, actually teams of 5 is a reasonably small number of people involved in a programming project. So you have to form teams of exactly 5. As I mentioned before, if you go to the Moodle page, you have the possibility to go to the team self-selection and then find a team and form teams, which you record yourself as part of the team in this team self-selection. Okay. So the deadline for forming the teams is January 2nd. As I mentioned earlier, if you don't have a complete team by January 2nd, I will actually form teams. Okay, if you students that don't have a team, I will put them in a team, in an existing team. I may also, it's possible I may, if there are many unassigned students, it's possible I will take a bunch of students that don't have a team yet. I will put them together and then say, well, you are a team 15, for example. Okay. My experience is that teams that I form myself, generally there's a good chance that they don't function as well as other teams that have chosen their teammates. Okay, so it's much better for you if you choose your own team. Okay. So then you might be saying, well, how can I communicate with the team, the people in the team? Well, you can go to the team self-selection and then send messages to the people in an existing team or various teams and communicate with these people and then choose which one you'd rather be in. You can also go in the Discord channel. There's quite a few people now that have sent messages advertising themselves on the Discord channel. And then people will know about you, and then you can discuss in the Discord channel as to with other people and choose to associate yourself with people that you like or like better than others. So how is this project going to go in terms of deadlines? So this is essentially going to be 3 different deadlines, 3 different submissions. So as you may know, in the industry, there's this trend of doing what is called incremental delivery of projects. This is exactly the model that we're going to follow. I'm actually going to explain what is the concepts involved with this delivery model in class as part of a lecture next week. So we are going to do 2 intermediate deliveries. So it's important to understand each of the deliveries are about delivering a running piece of software. It's not because you're delivering, for example, the first delivery that you're just giving me code that doesn't work. When you present each of these deliveries, it has to be a project that actually works to achieve some goals that I am going to give you. So for each of the deliveries, I'm going to give you a very precise and quite long series of requirements. And then you're going to be graded upon whether or not you made these requirements actually work as a piece of software. So there's going to be 3 different deliveries. You're going to be given a precise list of things to achieve for each of these deliveries. The marking of the deliveries is going to be done by the markers, which are the same as the lab instructors. Okay, so lab instructors and markers, they are the same people. Not necessarily that you're going to be graded by your own lab instructor, because a lab instructor is associated with a specific section, lab section. Not necessarily that your marker is going to be the lab instructor of your own lab section. The way that it's going to work for scheduling the demonstrations of each of the deliverables, the project deliverables, about 1 week before each of the deliveries, you will actually be given a link to a Google sheet that's essentially going to be some kind of scheduling sheet. And then you're going to be able to enter your team number in one of the time slots that are available. So that's how we're going to do the scheduling. Okay. So this is for the evaluation. This is one of the things we'll discuss in the live lecture time. Okay. It's important that if you have some question about the evaluation, that you come to the live lecture time. For the live lecture times, I'm not going to take attendance. If you don't want to come to the live lecture time, it's your own decision. There's not going to be some evaluation during the live lecture time. It's not going to be grades associated with attendance or anything like that. So it's up to you if you want to attend the live lecture time. However, there might be some important things that will be discussed there. Okay. I'm going to make sure that if there are important announcements to be made, I might tell them in the live lecture time, but if there are some important things that everybody needs to be aware of, you're going to receive an email from me. Okay. So evaluation. So there's the project as we discussed. So delivery 1 is 15, delivery 2 is 15, and the final delivery is 20%. So that's essentially a total of 50% for the project. So that's a team of 5. So there's the side question as to will all the teammates receive the same grade? My policy throughout in all my courses is everybody receives the same grade. It's up to you as a team to make sure that everybody is contributing the same weight. Of course, there are people that are more proficient than others. We'll discuss that extensively during the first live lecture. Please, you have to make sure as a team that you you establish tasks that are assigned to individuals and that you set up some deadlines for these tasks and that you don't wait for the last minute before the due date of a certain delivery to actually assemble things together, and then eventually you find that somebody did not do their part, and then all hell breaks loose, okay? Which is something that's very common that happens. So no matter what happens, I'm not gonna assign a lesser grade to somebody because some other people are saying this person did not do their share of the work. Okay, it's up to you as a team to manage your team. I'm going to grade a team and I'm going to give the same grade for the team to each of the individuals. It's up to you to organize your team so that it works properly. So this kind of issue I'm going to discuss as we go. I'm going to discuss that frequently during the live lecture times. So that's 50% for the teamwork for the project, and there's also 50% for exams. So there's going to be a midterm exam for 20% and a final exam for 30%. I'm gonna come back later as to exactly what's going to be the exams because it's online and so on. I'm going to discuss that a little bit later. Very important that you understand that you must have at least somehow 50%. You must have a passing grade, which is at least 50% for the total numeric mark that is calculated as the total of these that you will get, including the teamwork and including your own individual work in the exams. So you must have at least 50% to pass. Pass is that you don't have F. Okay. It's important that you understand that C is still pass. So if you have a very low grade that is somehow dangerously near to 50%, you will have C. There always are people, unfortunately, that get C's. Okay, so don't think that I'm not giving C's and so on. I don't want to scare you, but I just want to make sure that you understand that C is a passing grade and that there's always, not most often, there's always people that receive a C because they are very low and near 50%. Going to discuss the marking scheme later on in the course. When I present the when I present in person and when I present the outline. Very important also that you understand is that you, in order to pass the course, you must have at least 50% for your individual marks, which are the examinations. So even though you may have more than 50% for all the marks, if you don't have 50% for this one, you will not pass the course. Okay, so the thing is that we want to make sure that every individual has actually sufficiently mastered the content of the course. There is often, unfortunately, some people that are somehow riding the wave of their excellent team. And then when they do exams, then they have very low results. So we want to avoid that such people will pass the course. Seems very harsh, probably it is, but there has to be a clear description of what is it that it takes to pass this course. You must have a passing grade for the overall grade, and you must also have a passing grade for your exams. Okay, so what about online teaching? So for the lectures, I've already mentioned that a little bit before. I'm going to repeat here. For the lectures will be recorded exactly as this video here. For every lecture topic, there's going to be a video like this one. There's going to be a link on the Moodle page and on my webpage if that's what you want to use. And then these videos are going to be posted on my YouTube channel. So that's it for the videos associated with the lectures. I'm going to provide you with the slides and the videos, and then there's going to be also the live lecture session. Live lecture session is going to be during the regularly scheduled time, which is on Thursday from 5:45 to 8:15 in the evening. So this is what we're going to do during the live lecture session. First, I'm going to very quickly go over the material covered in the weekly lecture video. So it's going to be probably like 5, 10, 15 minutes. Don't expect that I'm going to repeat everything. It's going to be, I'm going to expect or supposed during the live lecture time that you've already seen the video. Very important that you understand I'm posting the videos beforehand so that you actually will listen to the video or view the video before you come to the lecture time. Don't expect I'm going to repeat everything in the lecture, the live lecture time, okay? Yes, I'm going to do a quick review about what I discussed, what's the important things that are to be understood in the weekly material, but I'm not going to repeat everything. If you have some questions, I'm going to answer questions, but I'm not going to repeat everything. So second, after I do this quick overview of the material, then I'm going to open the floor for some questions on the weekly material. And then when this is done, then we're going to go over questions for the project. You're going to see when I give you the handout for the project, you're going to see that it's two things. You're going to see that it's it appears to be telling you everything that you need to know. But once you will start reading it and then think of implementing it, you're going to see that there are many, many things that are not said in the handout. That's actually on purpose. Okay? That's like in real life. When a client hires you to do something, they might have a 1-hour meeting with you and telling you, this is what I want, and so on. And they appear to be very clear about what they what they want. They might give you a list of things they want. Everything might seem to be very clear. But of course, when you start thinking about how to do it, then you realize, well, he didn't tell me about that, or she didn't tell me about this, and so on and so forth. So you uncover some questions as you go, as you want to do the development. Okay, so that's the kind of handout that I'm giving you. It appears to be clear, but once you read it and you start implementing it, you're going to realize there's many questions. Some of them fundamental, some of them details. So that's why I'm going to expect during the live lecture time that you're going to come with some questions about the project. Okay. Then we're going to have some discussions about what this and that means and what exactly do I mean by X and Y in the project description. So yes, I'm going to expect during the live lecture sessions that you're going to come prepared with some questions about the project. So that's going to be part of your homework to somehow come prepared in the lecture time with some questions to ask me. Okay, so of course, as you see here, I'm providing you with some videos that are giving you all the material. So that's my my contact time with you. There's also questions and answers during the live lecture time. However, the live lecture time is only there for interaction. If after, let's say, 1 hour of answering questions, I don't have questions anymore, and I've already given you my sum up of the material. If I don't have more questions, I'm going to stop the lecture time, the live lecture time. Okay. I'd be happy to answer questions for the full, 2 hours and a half. But if we collectively run out of discussions, then I'm going to call a stop to the official lecture time. Okay. So don't expect that the official lecture time, live lecture time, is going to be always for the full time from 5:45 to 8:15. Okay. Now for the labs. So the labs are essentially there to help you figure out how to use these tools that we're going to ask you to use in the project. So yes, we're going to be using in the course, we're going to say we using Java for this project. Okay, so you must use Java. What IDE? It depends on you. Okay, in the lab we have Eclipse. There's also NetBeans. There's plenty of other IDEs that you may want to use. It doesn't matter as long which one you use, as long as it's using Java. Then, but also you need to use an IDE that works well with a certain repository that we're going to also ask you to use JavaDoc. We're going to ask you to use JUnit. So whatever IDE that you use, it needs to work well with all the tools that we're going to ask you to use in managing the project. Okay. The lab is going to be there to somehow teach you how to use these tools and how to integrate them so that the project works smoothly. Okay. It's possible that you already know, for example, how to use a repository such as GitHub. There's going to be one of the lab sessions that teaches you how to use GitHub if you don't know how to use it. Okay. So if you already know, then you might say, oh, I'm not going to go to this lab. I already know this, how to use GitHub. It's up to you. Okay, it's just like for the same thing for the lectures. If you choose not to listen to the videos or choose not to come to the lectures, it's your own choice. It's not going to be attendance. It's not going to be evaluations during the labs. Physically, the labs are there as the lectures to teach you things if you don't know them. Strongly advise that you go to all the lectures and labs. Incidentally, the people that do very well happen to be people that have been in the lectures and have been in the labs. Okay. Not telling you that I'm giving more grades to people that attend. I'm just telling you that my experience tells me people that attend the lectures and the labs are very often the people that get good grades. So during the lab time, a lab instructor will, first of all, before the lab time, there's going to be a video that is posted that you can access on the Moodle page. Again, the assumption will be that you listen or view the video before you go to the lab. Okay. That's going to be the assumption that your lab instructor makes or assumes as you come into the lab. Don't assume that you're going to go in the lab and that the lab instructor is going to repeat everything. Okay, that was said in the video. Same thing as for the lecture. It's going to be a video. You listen to the video. You view the video on your own. Then you ascend. You go to the lab session. Your lab instructor is going to be there in a Zoom session, and the lab instructor is going to go quickly over the material, explain to the students how to use a specific tool, for example, GitHub or any other tool that we select to show you as an example. So the lab instructor will tell you how to use this tool in your project in the lab. And then we'll basically wait for your questions and maybe help you, in practice to actually solve your problems in using this particular tool. Then, of course, you may ask questions on the project to the lab instructor. We are going to have our own Slack channel. So we are going to share some of the questions that we receive from the students and the answers that are appropriate to these questions. The Slack channel is going to be for our own use. You're not going to have as students access to the Slack channel. I'm just telling you that we are actually using some kind of communication media to share questions and answers with each other so that we make sure that we all give the same answers to the same questions. Another thing is that you may also want to use, again, I repeat, the Discord channel if you want to ask some questions about the project. That will eventually, I hope it's going to be a good place to go if you want to do questions and answers. And one of the assumptions is that if you go to a lab session, the lab instructor will stay there until the end of the lab session. Okay. That's it for labs. So another part of online teaching. So as I said, there's going to be 2 exams. So that's going to be 2 online exams. So how are these online exams going to be done? It's going to be done using a Moodle quiz. The first exam, the midterm exam, is going to be during the regular lecture time on week 6. So that's going to be on February 18th from 5:45 to 8:15 in the evening. Okay. I understand that some of you might be abroad in another time zone. I have to abide with, I cannot give different times for different students. That would mean I need to have several copies, several versions of the same exam. I'm going to have only one exam, and it's going to be at this time. Okay. So it's going to be basically you will go to the Moodle. There's going to be a link, and then you click on the link, and then the exam starts. Okay. I'm going to discuss in class. I'm going to do some kind of poll to figure out who did and who never did a Moodle exam. I might actually give you some kind of fake exam so that you acquaint yourself with how to answer questions in a Moodle exam. Okay. Especially as I will mention later here, there's going to be programming questions. So essentially, you're going to have to write some programs, put them in files, put these files in a zip file, and then upload your zip file on the Moodle exam. Okay. If you never did that, it's probably best to actually have some kind of practice with it before the real exam. I'm going to provide you with some practice like that you're going to be able to do on your own. So what are the exams going to be? So there's going to be 2 sections for the exam. There's going to be 40% for multiple choice questions. It's basically going to test it if you know the concepts involved in each of the topics that are being covered. So there's going to be many multiple choice questions, okay, for 40%. And then there's going to be programming questions. So you see as we go, there's going to be very frequently some programming examples that I'm going to use in the slides. For each of the programming examples that we see, there's going to likely be a programming question that is somehow related or similar to some of the examples that we saw on the slides. Okay. Anytime you see code in the slides or things that I'm explaining in class that relate to coding, I'm giving you an example. This is how I'm gonna, this is the topics I'm gonna use to actually design programming questions. But it's gonna be, normally there's like 3 programming questions for 60%. So that's it for the midterm. This is the date for the midterm. The midterm is going to cover all the material that was covered before that. So that's from week 1 to week 5. And the final is going to be in the final examination period, which is between these 2 dates here. We're going to know later on during the semester what's going to be the exact date and time of the exam. As soon as I have this date and time, I'm going to post it on the Moodle page and send you an email. The final exam will cover all the material from the beginning to the end. Okay, so yes, the final will cover the material of the midterm. And then I repeat, you must have 50% for the total grade of both the midterm and final. So it's, for example, it's possible that you don't have 50% for the midterm, but if you have a higher grade for the final, that you get a total of more than 50% for both of the exam. Other issues about online teaching, the communication, about official communication. So the official web resource is the Moodle page. Is my own web page. I don't consider my own web page to be the official communication media. That's where I store the files, yes, and so on and so forth. But the official web page for the course is the Moodle page. I will maintain my own web page. It's going to be the same material, but the official one is the Moodle page. Official important communication will be done by email. If I have an announcement to make to the class, for example, when I will know the date of the final exam, I will send an email to the class using my Concordia portal. So again, I repeat, it's very important that you go to the portal and make sure that the email address that you have there is valid and that you read the email in this mailbox. There's also the Moodle announcements. If you go to the Moodle page, if you go to the Moodle page, sorry. If you go to the Moodle page, you see announcements here. So I'm going to make some announcements here. So for example, the Zoom links and access codes you will find here. So if there's some important information that you may want to recall, I'll put some important information here in the announcements. Okay. Most importantly, you should read your email if you want to make sure that you don't miss some of the important communication. Okay. Other communication channels, which are these are non-official. Start this here. The Moodle messages. If you have something very important to tell me, don't use a Moodle message. I will do my best to answer the Moodle messages, but don't consider them as the official, communication channel. If I have something very important to tell you as an individual or as the class, I will not use a Moodle message. Okay, I will use an email. There's also the Discord channel, as I mentioned before. This is should not consider this as official communication. Okay. As for the online aspect of teaching and videos and Zoom, the lecture videos are posted on the instructor's YouTube channel. So you will have a link. When you have a link to the lectures, it's going to basically be a link on YouTube. This is for my own lectures. For the lab videos, it's also going to be a link, but it's going to be a link to the UJA channel, which is not public. For the live sessions, either the lecture live sessions or the lab live sessions, all the Zoom links are going to be provided on the Moodle page. Each of the Zoom sessions associated with the course will require a passcode. All the passcodes will be in the announcement in the Moodle page. Please, lastly, please do not publicly post the passcodes anywhere where everybody can read them. Reason being that if you make them public, a random person, a malicious person might see these and then basically pop up in our lecture time and then create some chaos. I don't want that, and probably you don't want that either. Might seem fun, but it's not. So that's it for this video. There's a few references here. There's no official textbook really for this course. Okay. Yes, there's a textbook I have posted on the outline. That's basically your usual C++ textbook, not Java textbook from Walter Savage. I don't consider this an official textbook for the course. If you are a very novice Java programmer, it might be a good thing to have a Java textbook. But there's going to be many more things that are going to be discussed in this course other than Java. It might be good if you are a novice Java programmer to have a Java textbook, but don't consider this is going to be the official textbook for this course. So that's it for this week. See you later.